On a hold call for BT.
Dude, I was honestly just thinking, like, oh, you want me to fucking cry right now? you. One, two. Bare foreskin, you get me? Right.
No.
You don't get me?
No, hey man, I just wanted to talk to you about your some of your bars are a little bit sus.
What's wrong with that one?
Well, it's just I don't know.
Bare foreskin,
yeah, I don't know if
get
that's
me?
like the way you're saying it is like it's a brag, but it's just like that's not something that you want to be like really open and honest about on a track.
What are you talking about? Bare foreskin, you get me?
Yeah, no, I heard
so
you.
big.
I heard you the first time.
It's like a jet. Bare foreskin, you get me? Dick so big, it's like a jet ski.
Okay, the second part was pretty good, I have to say. I'm liking the second part. I just wonder if we can work a little bit on the first half of that bar, if possible.
Why?
Well, because as I said, I just don't think having an excess amount of foreskin is like desirable in our current culture.
You've lost me.
Yeah. You're so hard to work with, man.
The way I see it, the bigger the foresk, the thicker the cock. You get me? I know that they don't like it in like America and that, but like in the Brits, in the British Isles, it's deemed a good thing.
I don't know if it is though. I can't think of any other context or any other person who said that was a good thing to have.
Think about it, man. Think about it. It adds girth. It adds length.
Not really. I mean, there's no.
You ever seen an anteater?
I have seen an aardvark. Yeah.
That's it. You know that like droopy long nose.
No.
That's what mine resembles.
That's not okay. I can't believe I did a music degree for this.
Yeah, man. Anyway, let's record them bars.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you a story, something that happened to me this week, right? So I'm on the phone to BT, okay?
British
trying to sort out that like
telecoms.
Trying to sort out that like that good Wi-Fi, that good stuff, yeah.
Those hyper-fast beams of energy that are flying around us at any given moment, transmitting data, flying through our brains.
Yeah, trying to get that thick bandwidth, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Thick, dude.
I get that thick bandwidth, baby. And so I'm on the phone, and so basically, look. It was for my mum's. It was for the cottage, right? Mum has a cottage, and we basically need to make sure that the Wi-Fi is good enough for people to rent the place, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Me being slightly more tech savvy than my mum took control.
Step back, mum. Let me handle it.
Yeah. So I said, so I was on the phone, and the woman, really lovely, really helpful. She goes, sure, yeah. So I asked her a question. She said, look, can I just speak to my manager just to double check? I said, sure. She said, do you mind just holding for me? I said, sure. I have no choice, but sure.
Yeah.
And
that's a bother in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Do you mind holding? No.
Do you mind doing this
yes.
thing that you have no control on the decision or the outcome of? It's like, well, I know you're being polite, but just like be like, okay, cool, hold for a second. Don't ask me because I can't say no. Imagine if you're like, imagine.
Imagine saying, yeah, I do.
I do actually mind. Yeah, actually, if you can just stay on the line for me, please.
Can you stay on? I'd love to hear the conversation so that you're getting the message across to your manager perfectly. Please let me listen.
Yeah, the way that I want it, not your own.
Yeah. So she says, do you mind waiting? And I say, sure. She goes, thank you. And this is what I hear next. Oh. Are you fucking Jason Mraz? This
so sad.
When I look into your eyes,
bro.
it's like a watch.
On a hold call for BT.
Dude, I was honestly just thinking like, oh, you want me to fucking cry right now? Like, you what is I didn't get it.
So
I put
sad.
Honestly, it was the worst thing. I fucking hate basically my bother sad music on waiting lines or whatever you call that, right, dude?
Well, you have a thing with just sad music in general, like out in public and stuff like that, like
inappropriate places with sad music is just something that fucking grinds my gears. But that, dude, I mean. Oh, did you want me to just reflect on my life? Did you want me to think about my pets that have died in the past? Did you want me to think about people that I don't see anymore? Do you want me to fucking be depressed for the rest of the day? I don't listen to sad music because unless like it's a really great song. I try to avoid sad music because it just puts me in a bad mood. Yeah. Right.
But at least you have control over it, right? Like you choose when you want to listen to a sad song, right? It's not being thrust upon you.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're trying to exchange some coin for a thick bandwidth, and you're being hit with a tearjerker. Right.
Dude, and think about it. Their job, their mission in that moment is to keep me entertained and keep me on, right? I wanted to fucking hang up. Honestly, I just was like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I put the fucking phone down and I turned it off a speaker because I don't want to hear a sad song from
your stinking Wi-Fi. I don't want to hear it.
I know. They did such a bad job. That for me, whoever's in control of that needs to be fired. And I want to go to these companies and I want to be a music supervisor for all of these companies that have playlists or music for customers when they're waiting in line. Because it's for me, someone like me, that was just such an awful fucking choice. Made me sad. And for the next hour, that song's going on in my head. When I look into your eyes. Oh, cool. I'm thinking about the saddest shit.
There must be a reason for it because you said that was a Jason Mraz song, right? Like, so you can get much more cheerful music that's like cheaper. That's like not even royalty free or something. That isn't that. So spend less money but there must be a reason for it. It must be like, hey, we want to play this song because, maybe they're used to getting a lot of hostility on the line and they want people to think about their lives and rethink how important it is that they get the extra 10 megabit upload and download speed. You know, that must be what it is.
I honestly think it's because they have no fucking clue what they're doing, and I think they go, "Oh, this was a really popular song." It's what they think. They think that that's relaxing because it is to a certain extent. Because it's not loud.
It's trying to diffuse the hostility of the customer.
Yeah, maybe, but just come on. There's so many better choices. If you want something that's chilled, relaxed, and just at least happy, for fuck's sake, make me happy that I'm about to get out a 12-month fucking contract with you.
It's true. You know? Yeah. Also, dude, the amount of people that are at home at the moment are so, with mental health issues and are so kind of like, probably there are people that are just on the brink of just ending it all, and then they get on, like the last thing they need is they get on the phone to BT, and
then this.
They're calling BT customer service. I just need to hear another human's voice today. Otherwise, I think I'm gonna have to jump out the window, and then that comes on.
Yeah. No. I'm just gonna have to put you on hold 1 second. Okay, no worries. Fucking, why is my phone doing this? I don't know, but
so much they hold.
Not alright.
Like them all.
Dude, it bothered me so much. And then it got me thinking, I hate when McDonald's is notorious for playing like sad music. And I know whenever I say that, people are like, it's to stop kids loitering inside, to make sure they don't just stay forever, which I get. Although, let me enjoy my meal with some happy music, right? Don't make me depressed when I'm in it. That's another place. Just, I don't want to be eating a McDonald's while I already know that this is terrible for me. And then have sad music, which is just reminding me about like awful parts of my fucking life, like awful memories. I don't need that. Just always have happy music, right? But I get the whole loitering thing. Yeah. Okay. But waiting lines, when you're on the phone just waiting, no, there is no reason, there is not a good enough excuse, there is no excuse. That is
I think so. The fact that McDonald's is so unhealthy is a health hazard as it is, but it's a mental health hazard, as you said as well, because the idea of just being, because when you eat McDonald's as well afterwards, you don't feel happy. It really like makes you sad, and then you have the sad music on. You're just like, what am I doing with my life? You know.
Exactly. What am I?
It's a mental health hazard.
Oh fuck! I've eaten this Big Mac as I look into your eyes. Oh fuck! What am I doing? What the fuck am I doing in my life? Honestly, like I could be out eating healthily. I could be exercising right now. Man, I miss my cat. Like honestly, dude, that's what my brain does when I hear shit like that.
Oh, I know.
Anyway.
That is, I mean, I don't know if you're like this though, but I'm so petty, I'm so stubborn when it comes to that stuff, that like if a company like that does something like that really annoys me, like the same way that you felt about the sad music on the thing, I will take my business elsewhere. Like I am that petty. I'll be like, oh cool, this is how you want to do business. Click, Virgin, get me Richard Branson on the phone. I don't know about you, but that's how I would handle that situation. I can't stand any.
Just you're off of it.
Get them out.
Really?
Yeah, get them out.
What if you like for me, like the last? So that was sorry, what am I trying to say? The time before that one, it was dude. I had no choice. I mean, I would love to have done that.
Beats the only one in the area.
Dude. The time before. The last experience I had with having to hold was when I was filing a tax return, and I couldn't. I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. 40 minutes. Yeah. 40 minutes. Because, I mean, to be fair, you know, loads of people were trying to do the same thing. I got it. I actually, you know, I sort of planned for it, put the phone down, and just did work until, hello, how can I help? Hi there, yeah. But also get more people working, because, hey, you know, it's an important thing, and we don't want to have to wait 40 minutes. Imagine you had to wait 40 minutes and so many people can't do that. So many people just can't wait 40 minutes.
Because
they got other
the annoying thing about it is like there needs to be a better system. How have we not figured out something slightly better than that, than holding? Because as you said, it's 40 minutes, but it's not just like, oh, you can just, you know, fuck off for 40 minutes and do something else, because you have to wait, because you have to be ready for when you have to be paying really close attention for when they say, oh, hello, hi, this is Mark speaking, how can I help? So it's not like if you can't just do it at work or something, or if because you have to be constantly listening. So we need to figure out a better way of doing that, because that's annoying 100%. To me.
You know what I would do if I owned a company where you were in that situation? I'd make all the listeners on hold compete. So whoever won like all these little mini tasks or whatever, like quiz games, they'd be bumped right at the top. I'd at least make it fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? Imagine like, oh cool, all right, sweet. Yeah, I'm up for this. And then also it's just a fun game.
It gives you 3-question quiz, and if you get all 3, you get bumped up like right to the top.
Yeah. Why not? Make it more fun then.
And then also the smarter people are getting ahead of the curve, and that's what we want, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it would make kids want to learn 100%.
True. 100%. Because we know how many kids are filing their tax returns right now. You know, it's a very competitive industry.
Exactly, massively competitive, massively. Yeah, all those 16-year-olds on YouTube who don't understand taxes and who are going to have to pay a fucking ridiculous amount of tax when they realise the tax man will fucking prosecute them if they don't. Dude, have you ever thought about the amount of because as a kid, I definitely wouldn't think about it. So, you know, 16-year-old kids in California making loads of money from YouTube. So many of them will not understand The fact that,
yeah,
because I wouldn't. If money coming in from YouTube, I'd think, sweet,
free
I'm good.
money,
but no, you got to. That's like you that hasn't been taxed. You need to sort that out, dude. The amount of kids buying Lambos out there, Lamborghinis, and all this shit. I guarantee they don't have a clue. About taxes. Well, with most of them anyway.
Nasty surprise.
Honestly, yeah. Awful surprise. David Dobrik, I was listening to one of his podcasts. He's already had to pay something like $2 million in the first quarter of the tax year. So he must be making so much money to where 2 million is 40% of whatever he's making. And then, because in America, I think it's like 40%. And 2 million. 2 million, bro. $2 million taxed. Nuts. That's nuts.
Pocket money.
Pocket money.
Pocket money for me and Dobe.
Yeah. Dogecoin.
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 Yeah, let's start Dogecoin.
David Dobrik should start his own cryptocurrency called Dogecoin.
Yeah, that's what the cool kids are doing these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
But of course, this is an advice podcast after all. This is What a Bother, where we talk about what bothers us, but more importantly, what bothers you, because who wants to hear us ramble about our egotistical opinions constantly? That was actually a quote in the Daily Mail about wabpod recently, so we thought we'd diversify it a bit. We've got some bothers. Do you have a bother from anyone this week? You spotted any?
Do you want me to
like a bear spotting trout swimming up the river in? Yep.
Let's have a look at some DMs. When I look into your eyes. See, in my head, I've made myself sad. I've made myself
crying,
sad.
Actually.
Yeah. Is it?
I do have a quick follow-up, actually. I don't know if you remember.
Let's go for that. Let's go for that first.
A few, I can't remember when it was. I think it was a few episodes ago now. There was the write-in from the girl who had the delivery guys come into her flat, and she had the documentary playing in the background that was all about serial killers and like skinning people alive and turning them into lampshades and stuff. And she was concerned that they thought that she was a psycho and wouldn't basically come back and deliver anymore. And then, do you remember what our advice was, or what we sort of said about it?
I remember thinking that he's probably very much used to that.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, don't worry about it. Sure, it's way worse. Yeah. Just a quick follow up is that she said that she's tried several times to book delivery again, and they've cancelled or haven't turned up to deliver ever since the time walking in with the serial killer thing. So apparently our advice was just redundant.
Well, I mean, losing money.
Yeah, losing money.
They're losing
absolutely.
money.
I just thought it was quite funny
losing money.
That they think that
that's not.
She's a serial killer.
Imagine they've red lit. They've put like that. That's a house you can't go to.
Yeah,
that is a house. That's a no-go area.
Yeah.
Sorry, blacklist. Yeah. Red. What did I say? Red lit. Blacklist. Yeah, red lit. That's a red lit house.
Like green lit, but it's the opposite. So you're like instead of green lighting in a project, you're red lighting it.
Yeah.
I'm saying
instead of a
no to that one.
Yeah.
It's like a polite way of saying. It's like a polite way of turning down someone's creative idea. Instead of, I think we should greenlight that film, man. It's like, listen, I'm gonna give a red light to this one, I think.
Yeah. Well, that is what happens, isn't it? A film gets greenlit. Yeah, red.
Yeah, but nobody talks about the red light in a film.
But that's most films. Most films are red lit.
Yeah.
Because no one wants them to be made. But yeah. Cool. Good. You know what? Fuck them. Fuck that fucking delivery company. They're losing money.
They're not earning your hard-earned cash, and that's hard-earned cash that should be going to someone who's a little bit more sensible. So
exactly,
own it.
Fantastic. So yeah, I've got a DM bother. This person writes, I live in London, and what's the worst thing about London? ? Train prices, which I totally agree with. However, this is going to get worse as of March. So apparently this month, the train prices are rising.
What? Again?
Apparently. he says, how can something that was already far too expensive be made even more expensive?
Do you know how much it's going up by?
No, I don't. But I don't even know if it's true. But I don't even know where to start. London train prices are just ridiculous.
Yeah, so they're going to rise by about 3% on March.
Oh, why? Why? It's already far too expensive.
Really expensive.
Why?
Yeah. I mean,
hey, go to Paris, compare the prices. Just wildly cheaper in Paris. Go to any other underground system in any other country. I would even bet that New York's what do they call it, subway? I would bet that that's far cheaper.
Oh, I'm sure it is, but I don't think Subway in America is super comparable with the Tube. I think the Tube is a slightly better service, but I will argue.
Oh, dude, have you been on the metro in Paris? Fucking as good.
It might be
completely as good, dude. The only so I've heard that it's something to do. So the government sold it to now a private company, right? So it was run by the government.
Smart.
Then it went to a private company.
Thatcherism.
So that was already, what the fuck are you doing? But apparently it's a German-run company. I don't know how true this is, but this is what I've heard. It's a German-run company.
Do your research, man.
Which I can't be bothered. It's a German-run country. England is a German-run country, and
I mean that was all like Margaret Thatcher selling off all of our assets and shit.
Yeah. So the underground in London is apparently run by a German company, which make it more expensive for us, so that in Germany their underground system is much cheaper. So it keeps them all happy, and they fucking ruin it for us. That's what I've heard. I mean, you can blame them. That's just disgusting. But I just don't get it. I really don't get it. That the thing with the underground is that you should be encouraging people to use the underground rather than.
Sorry, no. Go on. Finish your.
So no,
part.
You should be encouraging people to use the underground rather than getting Ubers, basically lowering emissions, right? You should be encouraging it. So what are you? How is it fair? Like, I don't know how the government can't try and intercept anything, because look, the best part is, like, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do. We just have to accept it, and we just have to pay these ridiculous fines. And I mean, yeah, the good thing about the underground is that it's pretty reliable and it's very frequent, right? But you should still get that same service with paying, I'd say, at least half the price of what we're already paying. I think
it's so expensive. I can kind of see their point might be like, oh, because we need to make some money back because nobody used the Tube in the past year or so. But what I would say is
my argument. You've already made billions. You've got billions in the fucking tank. Why do you need more money? You've got so much fucking money, dude. So much money. They've got so much money sat in the bank.
It'll be
so
like,
much fucking
I don't
money.
want to pay extra money to go and risk my health and my family's health again. Like, that's not going to encourage me to get back on the tubes. Like, after after things have opened back up again. Like, I'm just gonna maybe they don't want people on the tubes. Maybe that's why they're making it higher. But I do think I don't know. I'm gonna devil's advocate a little bit, and I think that. I do agree. It's far too expensive for what it is. I will argue, however, though, it's a pretty good service. I know people shit on it for a lot of different reasons, but if you compare it to like what a lot of other cities have, it's a pretty good service. Like a fairly regular line, you're looking at getting a train every like 2 minutes maximum, sometimes more than that, sometimes slightly less. Yeah. Which is like. I think that's a luxury that a lot of people forget about, is the fact you don't really have to plan timings of your trains, which you have to do if you live in other parts of the world or even other parts of the country. You can just rock up to Jubilee Line Station and get a train, within 2 minutes of standing there.
100%.
The trains, I would say, fairly not. I mean, if you compare it to like the New York subway, I'd say the trains are pretty like clean, I guess, to an extent. They're not like awful. They don't have like graffiti all over them constantly. They don't like, do you know what I mean? And
I don't know. I don't know what the subway's like, but I mean, Yeah. So
from what I see in videos and pictures, is what like the New York subway looks pretty grim, to be honest. But I think we're quite not fortunate, but it's a decent service, and I think it gets a bad rap. And I think there's a lot of drivers they have to employ. I think about the amount of drivers they have to employ and pay, who have to sit in like a 1x1 little box, and drive for like 9, 10, 11 hours, just constantly looking at the same dark track in front of you. I don't know, that's just doesn't sound like the most appealing job to me. And there's probably, I don't know, however many thousand people doing it. I think if you've got a train every 2 minutes on times 20 lines, there's quite a lot of people they have to employ in order to keep that service running. Just to play devil's advocate, I think that, but yeah, it's definitely it is still too expensive though. I remember like, if you look at your expenditure on an oyster, you're looking at spending about £10 a day to travel in and out of work, at least, sometimes more than that.
My argument would be that I think, yeah, you're right. The service is pretty great, but I think you basically, I still think it's overpriced. I still think you should expect that sort of service with like maybe like 2/3 of the cost.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Right, but I just don't. They can do whatever they want because they know that everyone, especially in London, people will be earning enough for it. But because this is just what pisses me off about London. It's just like you can just raise prices everywhere, housing, train prices, and everywhere, just prices in general, just buying whatever. In London, you can just raise the prices because, it's London, it's expensive. Like, you can just do it, right? But I think with TfL, with the tubes and the trains, I think I would be happy with half the price. Then I'd say, yeah, great service. But for what I'm paying, I don't think it's a good service. What I'm paying should be getting me a lot more. Also,
it's
just
a lot of money
little
when you think
side note,
about it. Like
it is.
Jumping on a line that you might only use for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you're paying like a £5. Like it's
yeah. It is a joke. The one thing that pisses me off as well, a little side note, is when they go, "Thank you for choosing Southwestern." Hey, didn't have a choice. Yeah. I just had to. It's the only train that's going. Didn't have a choice.
Train that's going and taking me to where it would be great to have a choice. I'd love for you guys to compete a little bit and drop the prices down, but I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. If there was like Virgin Atlantic trains or whatever, I know Virgin have some trains or whatever. Cool, I'd maybe jump on a Virgin train every now and then, but I can't. You're the only service that's there. Thank you for choosing us. No, I didn't choose you. It was only choice.
You just reminded me of an old memory. My dad, when I used to get the train with my dad, he's so funny, but he would always make a joke when they said, they were like, Metropolitan and Jubilee line are partially closed from Wembley Park, but there is a good service on the rest of the line. And my dad would always make the joke. He said, is it a good service? Like, am I getting like champagne and fucking prawn toast handed to me every now and then, or is it just a service? You know, why is it a good service? How is it better than it normally is? It's such a dad joke, but it's just, and every time I hear it, I think of that now. I guess my point is that I think the amount that we pay is the right amount in order to fund it. I just don't think it should necessarily be coming out of our pocket, if that makes sense. Like, I think money should be taken from somewhere else and subsidize that ticket price. So we pay half or a third, but they're not underfunded, if you see what I mean. Because this is going to be really controversial right now, but like, I will keep saying this, and I know there's so much more that goes into it than this, but like Brexit, for example, it's like, cool. So you're leaving. The whole point was you're not paying X amount of, billions of dollars pounds to stay in the EU, right? Cool. Are we seeing any of the kind of things like how a great example of that would be, cool guys, by the way, because we've left fucking the EU, we've got all this spare cash now, we're subsidizing tube ticket prices 20% off now, or 30% off for the rest. Do you know what I mean? It's just that kind of stuff. It's like everything's constantly rising. It's just I think the ticket price should be subsidized slightly. I'm not saying that I think it's expensive to run. I think it's probably a little bit more expensive than we realize, but I just think that
I'm sure it
shouldn't necessarily come out of our pocket, because at the end of the day, the government should be encouraging us to, as you said, basically exactly what you said, not driving, not getting Ubers, you know, the more economical side of that, basically. And how do you get people to use more economic transport? Is you subsidize it, you make it cheaper. You don't charge them 6 quid when they want to travel for 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough. Although I do think that they are being fucking I really do think they're being unfair. I think they're being greedy. I think they're being greedy pigs.
Yeah.
I really, really do, because I know that, you know, maybe it's wrong to compare it to the metro in Paris and the subway in New York, but when I've been to the metro only a few times, dude, it's just fucking great. Like you buy like a stack, you get like a stack of these tiny little paper strips like for like cards. €1.
Yeah.
And then every time you use one, it doesn't come back out. It's just much easier to sort of,
I guess it's a little bit wasteful paper wise, but
a little bit wasteful. I'm sure now, I mean, that was like 6 or 7 years ago. I'm sure now there's just the same as like contactless.
Yeah.
But my point was, it was literally €1 for possibly a day's travel.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not totally sure, but
so how are they
I just
doing
looked it up.
How
here.
are they doing it, and we're not doing
it? Because they're not greedy fucks, and then I think that must be a government run. I don't know, but maybe it's a government run system, whereas over here it's private. It says here, overall TfL generated revenue worth 4.7 billion British pounds from these services. Around 1.3 billion passenger journeys were made on the London Underground in 2019 to 20. So 4.7 billion.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything, because you don't know how much they're spending in order to keep it running.
Oh, they're definitely, dude. Come on, fucking think about it. There's no chance that 4.7, no chance that half of that is being spent. 2.35 billion or whatever. There's no chance.
Again, I just don't know. I think you'd be surprised how much they spend to keep it running. But definitely they're making a profit.
Okay, so why would it be that before it was private, it was so much cheaper? They're clearly taking the piss.
I don't disagree. I think they are taking the piss. I think the whole system is taking the piss for sure.
I
What's that? You got is the little girl in the corner of your room again?
Yeah, she's scaring me. She's like pointing at me.
Dotted around the room.
Keeps turning off. But yeah, no, I don't know. Fair enough. I think that's such a good bother. I just hate them for taking the piss, man. They can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. No one's going to do anything.
Yeah.
We have to go to work. People have to travel. Dude, it's going to be fucking 20 quid soon. In like 10 years, it's going to be 20 quid for a fucking... honestly. And we're not going to do anything. Everything will creep up apart from the salaries, man. Everything will inflate apart from the salaries.
That's such a good point.
That's what's going to happen.
I had this is how you know you're getting old as well, because I had a email in from O2 today, right? And they're like, oh, your tariff, there's changes to your tariff, right? In order to coincide with, I think it's actually the same. I think there must just be like a general increase happening to do with the tax year or something, because I think it was something similar to the tube prices. It was about 2%. They were like, oh, your tariff is increasing but to coincide with inflation and whatever bullshit. So it's going up by like 3% or something, right? So if you're paying X amount, this is how much extra. And I felt so old, but I was like, hey, cool, I'm glad that you're adjusting to inflation. Where's my salary inflation adjusting?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I guess you can do that as a freelancer, you can kind of choose, but there's definitely the rate of inflation definitely like is so much higher than your salary inflation. It coincide with that. And it's just, I feel like saying like, hey, no, you're not allowed to increase that tariff until my pay also gets inflated to the same amount.
I do,
because otherwise we're playing by the same rules. Everyone should be playing by the same rules, you know?
Yeah. And by the way, if that happened, if everything went up, nothing would need to go up. It should all just remain, because everything, it wouldn't make any sense, right? So, and that also is something that pisses me off. Hey, rather than everything rising together, apart from the fucking salaries, why don't we all just stay where we are? Because effectively it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so true.
I wonder if I'd love to see that in like 100 years, we just do a reset where like, okay, everything's divided by 100 now because the numbers are getting too high. Because they do that in
we can knock a few noughts off
games that I play. Like every time they add a new expansion or they add a new part to the game, right? all of the damage numbers or all of the numbers in the game go up because they have to make things feel more or better or more advanced than before. And in some of those games, they do like a reset every now and then because the numbers are just getting ridiculous. You know, talking in the millions kind of thing. That's what we should do. We should just do a reset. Dude, hey, cool. £100 is now £1. Cool. Let's start again.
100%. They need to do that. I was speaking to my dad the other day about how I said, hey, how much did you buy your first house for? So this was in 1982, right? He bought it for 17 grand.
The good old days.
So my dad bought it for 17 grand. And that house now is worth about, I don't know for sure, but I think it's worth about 400 grand.
Yeah. And that's definitely something that isn't just scaled with inflation. Like the prices of the houses have just gone up so much. And
just ridiculous. But I said, like, it's so unfair. Like, yes, salaries back then would have been much lower, but it would have been, but the rate of inflation between salaries and house prices just does not match at all, and it's such a fucking joke. You could get a house for 17 grand and now it's 400 grand. Cool. So I expect my salary to be exactly the same, but no, it's not. Like, yes, it has gone up, because I remember speaking to a guy who made £25 a week in like the 70s, whereas I'm sure that would probably be like 20 grand now, but still. Just not comparative.
I
just
think
doesn't make any sense.
Things need to slow down. Otherwise, it's going to get to a point where it's so expensive that you're going to start creating too much of an income divide, and it's going to be like one of those post-apocalyptic films where the fucking poor people rise up and like overthrow Parliament. So they need to slow down a little bit.
Apparently, that's what caused the housing crash.
Yeah, a little bit.
Was basically. I mean, it just, hey. But the thing is, you're right. Eventually, sorry, it looks like some guy's a woolly hat out there, but it's genuinely his hair. He had like a Russian hat, but it was actually his hair. But yeah, you're right. They will get out of control to the point where it's just like, hey, what are we doing? Like, it's just houses are going to be 3 million and our salaries, the average salary is going to be like 60 grand. Cool. I can't buy a house. I have nowhere to live. Rent costs 500 grand a month. What do I do?
Yeah.
Like,
that's like
just
in
not
2038 or something. That's what's going to be like. But then the government's just going to have like stadiums rented out that you can rent a cot bed for, a couple grand and you'll be good.
I can see it happening. But the same applies to that though. Eventually, knock a few zeros off. Go back down to where £1 is worth something. You know what I mean?
So how you know you're getting older as well, because when you're talking about the properties, where it's like, when you're younger, it's like, oh, if you could go back in time, like, what would you do? It's like, oh, I'd go back and see the dinosaurs. And it's like, okay. But now, like, oh, if you go back in time, what you do? It's like, oh, I'd go back to, like, the 60s and 70s and buy, like, so many properties.
Oh.
And then just come back in time and be rich. But, guys, thank you for watching another week. We really appreciate everyone watching, all your support. And, just another reminder, this is an advice podcast after all. So please send in your questions, your Nick's, you're doing the salute, thanks man. Send in your questions, send in your bothers, send in pretty much anything via DM, via email will be up on the screen now, and anywhere else, YouTube comments as well, unless you want to be anonymous. If you want to stay anonymous, then send it in privately. But yeah, that's it. That's been What Bother. I'm Tam.
I'm Spudnik.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Peace.